late game execution.
No, ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
All right. I'm finally gonna do this video. I teased this video a couple times yesterday in the live stream of the OKC Nuggets game, but I'm finally here with it. I gotta talk about particularly Giannis, but not just Giannis, but just the NBA in general when it comes to this topic. And I know some people ain't gonna like what I had to say because I don't know. That's just how people are wired these days. But anyways, we all know, especially in the last what year is it, 2025 now? The last 15 years now, almost. We have had players move around more than musical chairs. Now, the super team phenomenon, yeah, it didn't start with LeBron. No, it didn't start with LeBron. It goes back to I can't count the Los Angeles Lakers, Showtime Lakers is the super team. Or even the Boston Celtics is the super team because those teams were created through the draft. So those don't count. When we mean super team, we mean superstars joining each other. That's what the original term of super team means. Originally, I thought that's what it means. Because when the Boston Celtics first got together, I never thought the Showtime mean the super team. So I thought the Celtics were kind of like the first, but you could say the late 90s Houston Rockets was. But the only problem with the late Houston Rockets of the 90s, Hakeem Olajuwon, old. Charles Barkley was on one leg. Clyde Drexler was on one leg. And then Clyde Drexler eventually went bye-bye and went into retirement. And then you got Scottie Pippen as well. Just wasn't the same Scottie Pippen as he was 6, 7, 8 years ago when he was on the Bulls. So, no. Now, people might say the 2004 Los Angeles Lakers might have been a super team. Kind of, but still, once again, yeah, Shaq was sort of still in his prime. Kobe was, he wasn't even in it yet. He was getting close to it, but Karl Malone and Gary Payton was out of it. They was out of it. Karl Malone, I think, was hurt for most of that playoff run into the finals, and that was pretty much it. After that, the story goes that he would have played another season, but his mom died, and he just didn't have the heart to play anymore, which is understandable. And then you got the Boston Celtics in 2008. Yeah, it's a super team, but they were still somewhere in their prime. But like I said, since 2010, everybody wants to create a super team. We know the two culprits in this whole entire, topic. We know who they are. We ain't gonna say their names. They both balding and both play on the West Coast. But they moved around too many times due to, not just coming up short. And since 2000, when I first started hearing about this, I want to say almost 2018. Could have been 2018. Could have been 2019. It might have been 2019. Ever since 2019, oh, we're going to trade Giannis. Hey, Giannis going to leave Milwaukee. Giannis going to leave Milwaukee. Giannis going to leave Milwaukee. It was like 2019 you guys said that. They lost to Toronto. They was trying to get him out of there. Didn't work. After they lost to Miami in the bubble, they really tried to get his ass up out of there. Oh, man, he should go to Toronto. Maybe he should go to Miami. Maybe he should go to Golden State. Actually, I don't think Golden State was even a topic. It was even a destination back then. It might have been like Miami and Toronto. That's what I kept hearing. It wasn't the Lakers, but at that time they had Anthony Davis, so that didn't make any sense. So it's definitely Miami, maybe, and Toronto. And then he signs with Milwaukee. Milwaukee brings in Drew Holiday and all that. And he ended up winning the championship. Even after he won the championship, when Giannis gonna go after he? Well, Giannis won one in Milwaukee. Will he leave now? It's just like, y'all, pipe down with all that. And then every year so far, since they got kicked out, as always, man, is he gonna leave Milwaukee? And they really, really working hard to do it this year. Really working hard. And I think the catalyst was that because I did not know about this. Because after they lost, I can't pretty much tune out of anything after they lost this year. I guess, I guess Giannis said, I want to explore my options. I'm like, I wouldn't have said anything because, as soon as you say anything about leaving Milwaukee, they are like wolves out there waiting for him to leave. And yeah, player has a right to leave. We're not going to lie about that. But here's my issue with the player movement in the last 15 years when it comes to that. These guys' legacies, I can't say tarnished, but they're not as shiny as the legacies of the players of the past. Let's say that. They're not as shiny. They're dull-ish, almost. My whole thing is, though, because I always talk about this, especially the younger NBA fans, because they grew up in the era when they saw LeBron move from, depending on how old they are, they move from Cleveland to Miami, back to Cleveland, and Cleveland to LA. Probably some of these younger kids, probably in the early 20s, probably saw him go from, maybe they might have saw him go from Cleveland to Miami to Cleveland, maybe Cleveland to LA. And then you seen KD go from OKC, Golden State, Brooklyn, now to the Suns, possibly going somewhere else. And then you could say James Harden, because we've seen James Harden move to 3 different teams in 2 years, it seems like. Maybe 4 years. We seen James Harden go from OKC to Houston, Houston to Brooklyn, Brooklyn to Philly, Philly to the Clippers. Who knows where he's going to be at next? So I think some of these young NBA fans I talk to, they think that is the norm. It may be the norm for not superstars, because I grew up in the era in the 2000s when superstars really didn't move that much. Like the top-notch ones didn't move that much. You didn't see Kobe go from the Lakers to somewhere else. You didn't see Tim Duncan go from somewhere else. You didn't see that. Now you say AI go from somewhere else, but that's a different story. But AI, how many teams AI play for? Philly, Denver. Really the two I really count because those are really the two that he was really still, formidable on the court. He went to Detroit and Memphis, but by that time he went to Detroit and Memphis, he was pretty much done. He was pretty much over the hill. That's why I really count those two. Yeah, you seen Ray Allen moving. Ray Allen never said I was going to leave Milwaukee. He got traded from Milwaukee to Seattle, and then Seattle to Boston, and then Miami, and that was it. By the time he got to Miami, he was already over the hill. Same thing with Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett. They did most of their damage. Well, Kevin Garnett did some of his damage on the Boston Celtics, but he made a name for himself being on the Timberwolves. I guess that would be an example. But the thing about it, Kevin Garnett never won a ring for Minnesota, where Giannis won a ring for the Bucks. And yeah, Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett did move a lot. After Boston, they both moved to Brooklyn, and one went to Washington, one went back to Minnesota to end it all. I think Paul Pierce went to, where did he go, to the Clippers after Washington? Yeah. But that's when they was pretty much out of their prime. Giannis is still in his prime. All this player movement in the NBA, like I said, their legacies are going to be, I can't say lackluster, but not shiny. And I always say, when the tough gets tough with these players, these newer players, they want to leave. When the tough, and I had to use him as an example because he is the prime example of things getting tough and standing on 10 toes down and not becoming weak and try to do something else. MJ. MJ is the perfect example of that. He could not, as we all know, he could not get past the Detroit Pistons. He could not get past the Detroit Pistons. But he found a way. Worked hard in the offseason, got stronger because they was beating his ass physically. They got stronger, became more of a leader, I think he was already vocal already, but became more of a leader, got better, figured out a way to win. Now, if Jordan decided, I don't feel like being on the Bulls no more because I can't beat the Detroit Pistons. I'm gonna go somewhere else so I can avoid them. What kind of legacy would Jordan have if that would have happened? That's how you create myths in the NBA. This mythological type players like Jordan, like Kobe. It's like a myth. It's like reading a book of a trying to think of the word I'm looking for. The word I'm looking for is leaving me right now. But yeah, it's like building on a legend, a legendary, like almost like a folklore type of thing. You think about it. No, Jordan, he couldn't get past the Detroit Pistons, but he found a way. Next thing you know, he got past the Detroit Pistons in their prime. I'm gonna have to add that in there. In their prime. Not when they was 35, 36, 37. No, in their prime. And eventually, Jordan ended up beating and getting to the finals and beating the Lakers. Not the same Lakers from Showtime, but Magic Johnson was still Magic Johnson. He wasn't limping in anything. They just didn't have Kareem. But when you do stuff like that, it echoes for eternity, positively, because everybody can tell that story of what happened to Jordan. Now, you think of people like LeBron, when the tough got tough, what did he do? He couldn't beat the Boston Celtics. And old Boston Celtics, too. Still somewhat prime, but he couldn't. An older prime Boston Celtics, let's just say that. But what did he do? He got beaten 08 and got beaten 2010. 2009, he couldn't get past the Orlando Magic. So what did he do? He didn't figure it out. We all know, as the story goes with him, he ends up joining Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh to go figure it out. And still failed at doing that. Because we all know his first year in Miami, he got showed up by the Dallas Mavericks. And that's another legend right there in itself, Dirk Nowitzki. Dallas is a short market team, small market team. As big as Dallas is, population-wise, still a small market team. But Dirk couldn't figure it out. Dirk got to the finals, and I still think they got robbed in the finals, 2006 finals, by the refs. But it makes no sense. Dwayne Wade was at the line 22 times. But Dirk had to figure it out, too. He didn't want out of Dallas because he couldn't figure it out. He had to find a different. No, he figured it out and got one. That one ring for Dirk Nowitzki, and the legend that he is, echoes forever, especially with people in Dallas. But just in the NBA history books, Dirk is highly regarded and highly respected. I think, maybe I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know about anybody else. But I think when players stay with one team for their career and win their ring there, or win 2-3 rings there, I think it's more respected because they didn't try to find the easy way out. Hakeem did the same thing. He didn't find the easy way out. Stayed in Houston. Went to the finals. It was 84? Yeah, it was 84, wasn't it? When he went to the finals. But yeah, it had to have been 84. Was it 85 or 84? I'm losing my mind here. But yeah, Hakeem went to the finals in the 80s. He got beat by the Celtics. He had to wait almost 10 years to get back there, and then went back-to-back championships. One with Clyde. That was his team. An older Clyde Drexler. Old teammate from Houston. Houston Cougars days. Vernon Maxwell, Sam Cassell, Robert Horry, Mario Elie, that team. I think the problem with today's NBA players, and I'm putting you know who and you know who in Phoenix too. That's what I'm gonna name them. I think the problem with them is those two and a lot of other NBA players that there's something missing. I don't know if it's skills wise. I think I know what it is. I think with the balding one in Phoenix, he just doesn't have the leadership qualities. He just doesn't have that something that Jordan and Kobe had. He don't have that. I think that's what he's missing. As a player, offensively, especially in his prime, he was great. But he was just missing something. He's been missing something for all his career. And I just think, well, let me, before I get to that. And then the other Baldwin one that I shall not name that plays in LA, it's like the party is over, but he's still in the house partying while everybody's trying to go to sleep. That guy, same thing with him. He's not a leader, but skills wise, he's not on par with the other Baldwin one that plays in Phoenix, which is even worse for him. These two lack leadership skills big time. One don't even try to play defense. Don't even try. At least the one out here at least tries. But the one out in LA, he do not even try to play defense. It's like defense is not part of his game anymore. I think that's what's missing with him. There might be some other stuff missing that I can't think of at this point. But I think a lot of these modern players are just missing something. They're just missing that aggressiveness, that want to win. I just think the mentality, the mama mentality, I don't know what you call it for Jordan, but that type of mentality is a rare thing. It's like a rare power that most people cannot possess. And I think most of these NBA players cannot possess that. I don't know if they're just not wired that way, not built that way. They care more about the money, getting BBL women. I don't know what it is. They just don't have that, dog, real dog in them to get it done. No excuses. Find a way. Figure out a way. It's just like when stuff gets tough. Oh, that's it. I can't win here. Let me go somewhere else and play a team up with somebody. And I just don't think when it comes to Giannis, I don't think he has the mentality of joining someone else's team. I don't even like joining someone else's team in the pickup game. Unless it calls for it, meaning that, some people leave and you got to play on that team to get 5s or 4s or whatever. But I hate playing on a team who keeps beating me. I don't want to play with them. I want to find a way to beat them. I hate that crap. Losing to a team. That's what makes not just the game of basketball. That makes football too, baseball, whatever. Team sport. That's what makes the team sports, at least, not even the individual sports of golf and tennis, stuff like that. That's what makes sports great. Finding ways to beat your adversary. Beat the freaking dragon in front of you. Don't find an easy way to do it. I think when it comes to dragons, that's different. I don't always, but I do equate the story of an NBA basketball player, at least a superstar, that all their struggles and all that stuff, ups and downs and struggles. I equate that to like the hero's journey when it comes to fictional stuff, like a Luke Skywalker. You got to suffer. And then you find a way to stop suffering and find a way to reach your goal and become legendary. Honestly, to me, forming super teams, buddying up with each other, it just doesn't really, it's just not good for me. It just seems like an easy way out, a cop out, just to find a way. I think it's much more appreciated. I think many people have said this. It's much more appreciated when you stay with one team, you play whatever you can find, sign, play with. You find a way that you and that team finds a way to win. And then when you do win, it's much more satisfying. I think KD has come out and said, yeah, he won 2 rings in Golden State, but it's not as satisfying as he probably would have did it with the team he was drafted by in the Thunder, Westbrook, and all of them. So, yeah. If I was Giannis, I don't know. I know people. When I say I'm a Bucks fan or something like that, people say, "Oh, how about you trade Giannis to Dallas and get Cooper Flag?" I don't want no damn Cooper Flag. I don't want no Cooper Flag. I don't want no damn Cooper Flag. I don't want no first round pick. Giannis started something in Milwaukee, something that really hasn't been seen since the days of Kareem. Couldn't do it with Ray Allen because they shut all that down before he even got really started or tried to find a way to win. But Giannis is building a legendary career in Milwaukee. Like I said, the legacy that he leaves behind if he does stay in Milwaukee, yeah, depends on how many rings he wins, but it still be grand. You have a statue and all that there. See, if LeBron would have stayed in Cleveland for his whole entire career, it might have been different for him. And it might have been different in lots of ways for him. I think he'd be more respected. I don't know if he has, maybe he still had a narcissistic attitude, but I think he at least would be more respected if he would have stayed in Cleveland and won whatever there. Yes, I get the money's an issue and all that other stuff, but it is what it is at this point with him. It doesn't even have to be not staying in Cleveland. Even if he didn't stay in Cleveland, went to Miami, and didn't have the narcissistic attitude, I think he'd still be more respected. The thing about him is that his fans don't understand. He's just an asshole, and not even a good asshole. He's just a freaking just like, can you get rid of this guy, please? Tell him to go to retirement. He's just that type of asshole. There's good assholes and terrible assholes. At least the good assholes you can somewhat tolerate because they do have some redeeming qualities to them. This guy, on the other hand, I don't know about him anymore. And the more he stays in the league, the more it gets worse for him. But now it sounds like I'm just rambling now. But yeah, whoever, if he does get traded, I know Milwaukee is going to be asking for a lot. And when I mean a lot, they're going to be asking for a lot. It ain't going to be no, you going to leave me with nothing. Because I don't think Giannis is going to just leave. If he does do that, just going to leave and leave Milwaukee with nothing. No, Milwaukee's going to want, the Bucks going to want a lot. Because you're not going to just leave them, make them a trash organization again, just so you can have Giannis and go hippie scoppy somewhere. And I think another issue is this too. I don't think people really like the Bucks organization. Yeah, I'm from Milwaukee. Yeah, Milwaukee's not the most glamorous city. It ain't. One of the reasons why I won't, well, there's other reason why I won't move back there. YNs. But ain't the most glamorous, but I don't get the whole disrespect for the franchise, which is weird. And I think, like I said, these younger NBA fans, they're not really fans of a team. They're fans of a player. When I was growing up, people was fans of a team. No matter who was on that team, they was fans of the team. These days, you just want to be fans of the player. And then whenever that player moves, they go wherever that player is. I was talking to a Knicks fan the other day. It's weird. I wouldn't say it's weird, but it was rare that talked to a younger NBA fan who was a Knicks fan all the way through and always forever be a Knicks fan. He didn't follow no one or anything like that. Like I said, most of these guys want to follow the player. They're not fans of the team. But anyways, I feel like I'm really rambling now. But yeah, I don't want no damn Cooper Flag. And my last point is, who says if Giannis does go somewhere else, will it work there? See, going back to the two people I won't name, it hasn't really worked out where they at right now. The one that plays out here in the Valley of the Sun, he still hasn't figured it out since he left Golden State. Because the problem is not the team, and the problem is him. Same thing with the Baldwin one in LA. The problem is in him. And if Giannis does go somewhere else, the problem still persists in a different city, then it's him. It's not the organization, it's him. You didn't figure what's wrong with you first. It's kind of like, last point I want to make before I end this. It's kind of like, being in a relationship with a woman, or it doesn't matter, dude, woman, whatever. I don't want to just pick on the women, but it's kind of like that. You go, a one man or woman jumps from relationship to relationship, and it doesn't work. Then it's not the next person you keep dating's fault. No, if the same problem persists in every relationship, then it's probably you are the reason why the relationship is not working out, or this relationship's not working out, not the other person. So I think most NBA players don't think about that when they want to go somewhere else. And the Bucks do got some issues to figure out. They got to figure out what they're gonna do with Daniels. Now he got his torn Achilles. If anything, what happens, it's gonna be some shakeup with the team. To the point, if he does stay, somebody else has got to go as well. So, anyways, um, but yeah, they're really trying to get Giannis out of Milwaukee as best they can, and I think it's the NBA media, and then it trickles down to these NBA fans who just slop over whatever the NBA media puts out. Um, they never wanted him there. They never liked him in Milwaukee in there. You know, Stephen A. Smith, why are we gonna go to Milwaukee for the finals? Well, you better hope the Knicks win the finals. I mean, get to the finals, Stephen A. Smith. If they don't, you going to Indianapolis or OKC or Minneapolis. Those ain't the most glamorous places. Did they go to a glamorous place last year? Boston and Dallas. I never been to Boston. I don't know how it's like out there. But Dallas, I like Dallas. And the year before that was going to Miami and Denver. So at least he got to go to Miami. And the year before that, he got to go to Golden State and Boston. The year before that, he did go to Milwaukee and Phoenix. And he pretty much dissed Phoenix and Milwaukee. But anyways, there's gonna be some shakeups no matter what. It truly is. It really will be. But yeah, they never liked Giannis in Milwaukee. They hated that. The media really hated that. And when they won, they really hated that. No, they even won, when he resigned Milwaukee in the off season of 20, before the off season of, no, the off season before 2021, when he signed with Milwaukee, they hated his guts for that. And they didn't want to give him the proper respect. I remember after the one day finals, they start talking about LeBron again. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say his name, but they started talking about him again right after they won the finals, because they did not like that at all. So, anyways, I feel like I talked enough. I don't want to be like Sports and Fitness Rats, talk for 40 minutes. No diss to him. No diss to Sports and Fitness Rats, but damn. Whoo, man. That man can talk for 40 minutes. I can't do that. I don't know how he does it. I'm about to be in 30 minutes right now. I guess it's easy when you find a topic that you really passionate about. But damn, this was a long time. But anyways, but yeah, whatever. Whatever happens next season happens at this point. I won't be covering it because if you guys don't know by now, after the finals is over, I'm pretty much done with this anyway. So who knows what happens after this? But anyway, tell me what you guys think.